Partner or volunteer today. Together, let's transform our educational landscape. EDTF, building futures and putting smiles on faces. Every ripple starts with a single drop. In Bielsa, every ripple starts with a single drop. In Bielsa, that drop is the Education Development Trust Fund Board EDTF. From the moment a child sits down to a nutritious meal to the day a scientist steps into a brand new laboratory, EDTF is there, turning challenges into opportunities. 5,000 meals served daily in our model boarding secondary schools. Biological sciences laboratory equipment delivered to Niger Delta University. 1,000 teachers and school leaders trained with the British Council. Special education teachers graduating from Ignatius Ajuru University under EDTF. Scholarship research grants fueling innovation in our state-owned tertiary institutions. TVET, science labs, water facilities, culinary kitchens and clinical labs springing up across Bielsa. Vocational scaffolding trainings and a computer-based testing center at UAT Tororua. These are not just projects, they are ripples that spread across classrooms, communities, and the entire state. But a ripple grows stronger when more hands join the water. So whether you're an organization, or a corporate partner, or an individual who believes in education, you can be part of this ripple. Support EDTF and help us expand Ripple. Donate, partner, or volunteer today. Together, let's transform our educational landscape. EDTF, building futures and putting smiles on faces.
It's a brand new day, new opportunities, fresh start, a whole lot of things for us to be grateful for. Let's just calm down, accept life's lessons, life's blessings, and also appreciate everything, the goodness of life. In as much as it is a new day, it's a new day with new stories, a whole lot of stories making the rounds. Good morning. You're watching Niger Live TV, and this is Newspaper Review. Newspaper Review is your daily press review, where we're going to see to the papers, check out the stories making the rounds, and also discuss them here at the breakfast table. My name is Barbie Mkparu. You're welcome. So we begin straight up with the Nation paper this Monday morning. Let's see what the Nation paper has in store for us. On the Nation, first story here, federal government reviews options as Iran war impact grows. Now, this is as regards to the U.S.-Israeli-Iran war, where we've been suffering impacts of the war, not just impacts, but then negative impacts, you know, from situations involving the increments in petrol prices and many other economic fallouts. So yes, and the federal government have decided to review options regarding how well to position the country, in as much as we have been suffering and facing negative impacts of the Iran war. Still on the Nation paper, we have that Electoral Acts 2026 court's jurisdiction on parties' internal affairs. That story is available on page 5 of the Nation paper. Do well to get the paper and read through such stories. Still on the Nation paper, Zamfara's PDP governor may decide for APC next week. That story is available on page 8 of the Nation paper. That the governor of Zamfara State, His Excellency Lawal, who currently is under the platform of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, has chances, opportunities, or possibilities rather, of joining the All Progressives Congress APC by next week. Details of that story is available on page 8 of the Nation paper. Do well to check that story out. Let's go over to the Vanguard paper. Let's see what the Vanguard paper has for us this morning. It says here, as its lead story, how FG's 2.3 billion euro electricity project failed. That story is available on page 21 of the Vanguard paper this Monday morning. Imagine how sad, how heartbreaking that over 2.3 billion euros have sadly gone down the drain. It was initially put out for a good cause, of course, for the federal government's looking to improving the state of the country's electricity. But it's a sad one, as the project have failed. Read through that story on the Vanguard paper in page 21. Still on the Vanguard paper, as regards the general elections 2027 polls, we have that parties scramble to meet electoral act deadline. That story is available on page 5 of the Vanguard paper this Monday morning. Do well to check that out. We go over to the Punch newspaper. The Punch newspaper has here that NNPC may supply foreign crude to Dangote refinery. That's on page 2 of the Punch paper. I believe this is still in regards to the Middle East war. That's the NNPC may begin supplying foreign crude to Dangote. That story is available on page 2 of the Punch paper. Do well to check that out. Still on the Punch paper, battle for PDP. Makinde and Wike camps brace for a court verdict today. The story is available on page 21 of the Punch newspaper this Monday morning. Do well to check that out. That battle for PDP as Makinde and Wike's camp brace for a court verdict today. Let's go over to the Blueprint papers. On the Blueprint paper, we have a statement from UN. It will take hundreds of years to achieve gender equality. That story is available on page 10 of the Blueprint. I'm forced to argue with the statement from UN. Yes, it's saying that it will take over hundreds of years, that is like centuries, to be able to achieve gender equality. In as much as I would like to argue with that statement from UN, I then remember that, okay, it's not just me in the world, right? I'm not the only person in the world. People have different views, different perspectives, and that is why gender inequality will thrive, because there are whole lots of people that believe, oh, a woman's place is this, a man's place is that, a woman should obey, a man should give orders, and many of all of those quite archaic mindset, so to say. So you can read through that story on the Blueprint paper this morning on page 10. Yes, that it will take hundreds of years to achieve gender equality. Still on the Blueprint paper, we have NDLEA arrests ex-Lagos councillor with 40 kg skunk, seizes IEDs. That news story is available on page 19 of the Blueprint paper. Do well to read through details of that story. In regards to the Middle East war, there is a story here on the Blueprint paper that experts predict more money for FG governors as hostels rage. So experts are now saying that in as much as there's a crisis going on in the Middle East, right, in as much as there's a crisis going on, the federal government will get more money. There is more money for the federal government. But let's not forget that, oh yes, the average Nigerian used to spend a lesser amount on petrol, but now would have to spend over 1,500 for petrol, right? A liter. That's the reality now. The average Nigerian is paying more for something they used to get at a lesser price due to the crisis going on in the Middle East. But it's not exactly more money for the federal government, because they have a lot to do with money this period. Regarding, just as we read earlier, they have to now review options in regards to the Middle East crisis that is expanding, right? So they also have to put in so much money in security, as well as so many other things. So, but you can read through details of that story as it is available on the Blueprint paper this Monday morning. Let's go over to the Nigerian Tribune. Let's check stories on the Nigerian Tribune this Monday morning. Political parties differ over IPAC's threat to boycott 2027 general elections. You can read through details of that story on page 22 of the Nigerian Tribune this Monday morning. Iran war. Federal government activates diplomatic channels, consular alert to protect citizens. Now, this is what I was just saying, that in as much as the average Nigerian tends to pay more, sadly, for things that they used to get at a cheaper rate, in as much as they have to pay more for those things, FG will also get a higher than they used to, right? They now have much money in their possession, but then they still have to use this money for a whole lot. And now we are reading it that FG activates diplomatic channels, consular alert to protect citizens. And I also mentioned that the federal government would now have to spend more money to ensure the security outlets are capable enough, are armed enough to protect the citizens of the country. Right, so that story is available on page 4 of the Nigerian Tribune this Monday morning. ADC flays Mkparu for dismissing opposition's objections to Electoral Act 2026. Now, that is a political drama, of course. So you can read through details of that story on the Nigerian Tribune paper. Let's check The Guardian. Let's see what The Guardian newspaper has for us this morning. It says shareholders may forfeit dividends as CBN penalizes insider abuse. Business news right there. Read through details of that story on page 6 of The Guardian paper. Walk the talk on security emergency. Ndume tells Tinubu. That story is available on page 3. Ndume is now telling the president, Tinubu, that he should walk the talk, in as much as he's saying things regarding to security emergencies and how well FG plans on curbing it. Ndume is now telling the president that he should walk the talk in regards to security emergencies across the country, Nigeria. Women stakeholders harp on empowerment inclusion on International Day. So yes, yesterday, 8th of March 2026, women across the world celebrated International Women's Day. And a story is available on page 3 of the Guardian paper that women stakeholders harp on empowerment as well as inclusion on International Day, on the celebration of the International Women's Day. Read through details of that story on page 3 of the Guardian paper. Let's go over to the New Telegraph. On the New Telegraph, we have fuel will hit 1,500 per litre in Nigeria if conflict persists. That story is available on page 2, 3, and 4 of the New Telegraph paper this morning, that there's a likelihood of fuel, the cost of fuel, to skyrocket to 1,500 naira per litre in our country, Nigeria, if the Middle East crisis persists. NLC alleges TCN officials plotting to divert 20 billion naira. A thingy going on as regards corruption there. Read through the story on page 4 of the New Telegraph this Monday morning. CIT. So as regards our CIT, financial institutions payments rise by 13.5% to 1.34 trillion naira. So read details of that story on the New Telegraph this Monday morning. Let's go over to Daily Trust. Let's see what the Daily Trust newspaper has in store for us. Middle East war pushes up petrol and food prices. These are the negative impacts that we keep talking about. The US-Israeli-Iranian war has had a whole lot of negative impact on we Nigerians. As we are now seeing on the Daily Trust newspaper this morning, that the Middle East war is now sadly increasing the price of petrol as well as food in our country, Nigeria. Sad one there. Okay, still on the Daily Trust. Lawyers, ADC to ICPC, charge or release El Rufai. So lawyers, ADC, the ACPC are now saying that in regards to El Rufai's case, they should either charge him or release the man instead of just keeping him in a custody, so to say. So that's one that you should check out on the Daily Trust. Iran names Hamani's son Mojtaba new supreme leader. So Iran has now named Ali Hamani's son Mojtaba as their new supreme leader. That story is available on the Daily Trust. Let's go over to Daily Sun. Let's see what the Daily Sun newspaper has for us this Monday morning. APC governors at war over NWC positionings. That story is available on page 6 of the Daily Trust this Monday morning. Still on Daily Sun, rather. Still on Daily Sun, we have fear grip PDP members over leadership as appeal court rules today. That's in-house party situation. Read through that story on page 6 of the Daily Sun. Still on the Daily Sun, NLC alleges 20 billion naira looting plot in TCN. That's a story I earlier mentioned in regards to corruption, looting of funds, and hammering public trust, so to say, and affecting public trust. That's a story available on page 25 of the Daily Sun newspaper this Monday morning. Let's go over to the Daily Monitor. Let's see news stories contained in the Daily Monitor this Monday morning. NMDPRA explains why fuel fuel pump price keeps fluctuating. The details of that story is available on the Daily Monitor, where there's an explanation of why fuel pump price keeps fluctuating. Still on the Daily Monitor, a report has been gathered, that teenage pregnancy highest is in the northern part of Nigeria. In as much as teenage pregnancy has is something that goes on all over the country, all over the world as well, but in Nigeria's ranking, northern part of Nigeria has the highest rate of teenage pregnancy. Okay, quickly, let's move to the Business Day newspaper. Let's see what's going on in the world of business. Federal finances under strain as debt costs swallow revenue. That's tragic. That's the federal finances, right? Money, the federal government, and all that is now suffering. It's facing a strain due to the fact that the debts, the money that they owe, is now swallowing the revenue that is even being generated. So you can check details of that story on the Business Day that says federal finances under strain as debt cost swallows revenue. All right, still on the Business Day paper, we have 57 years later, Lassa fever still stalks Nigeria. This issue of Lassa fever, why does it always have to come back? Now it's even counting. That's 57 years later, Lassa fever still stalks Nigeria. There is still traces and signs and outbreaks of the deadly disease, Lassa fever, going on in the country. Still on Business Day, we have that petrol prices cross 1,000 per litre. Queues resurface nationwide. That's a story available on page 30 of the Business Day. That petrol prices is now crossing 1,000 naira per litre, and there's now long queues across fuel stations in the country. That story is available on page 30 of the Business Day newspaper. Do well to read through details of that story. Let's look through Punch Sports Extra. On Punch Sports Extra, we have Adams ends goal drought as it will be in others suffer FA Cup heartbreak. That's story available on page 6. It's quite heartbreaking. You know, the Super Eagles were hoping to be a part of the World Cup, so to say, till they got dominated by Congo. So it will be, and others are still suffering heartbreak over the FA Cup. So the story is available on page 6 of the Punch Sports Extra. Still on the Punch Sports Extra, we have Osimhen fires Liverpool warning as Barca eye striker. Osimhen fires Liverpool warning as Barca eye striker. That story is available on page 7 of the Punch Sports Extra. Do well to read through. Pep gets 2-game ban is a story that is available on page 5 of the Punch Sports Extra. Read through details of that and other stories. Madrid plots Tonali. Madrid plots Tonali 100 million euro summer swap. That is a story available on page 3 of the Punch Sports Extra. Do well to read through details of that story. Tomori Happy Lookman didn't join Inter Milan is a story available on page 7. Do well to read through. Still on the Punch Sports Extra, Getafe plots Uche sale over Palace uncertainty is a story available on page 7. And on boxing, the world of boxing, Mbata leads Nigeria's Commonwealth Games squad is a story that should be checked out on page 2 of the Punch Sports Extra. Dele Bashiru eyes Coppa Italia title is a story available on page 7 of the Punch Sports Extra. Then we have Liverpool Arsenal gets Huijsen's transfer boost is a story on page 4. And finally, on the Punch Sports Extra, we have that Chelsea plots Dulof hijack available on page 5 of the Punch Sports Extra newspaper this Monday morning. Do well to read through all of those stories. For the sports lovers, of course, do well to check that out. And so that's it. That's a wrap on our newspaper review for this Monday morning, the 9th of March 2026. I hope you had an amazing time reviewing the stories making the round. I hope you had an amazing time at the breakfast table. Do have a blessed day ahead. My name is Barbie Mkparu, and Globe in View would be coming to you in a few. Just stay glued and connected with Niger Live TV. Good morning.
Every ripple starts with a single drop. In Bielsa, that drop is the Education Development Trust Fund Board EDTF. From the moment a child sits down to a nutritious meal to the day a scientist steps into a brand new laboratory, EDTF is there, turning challenges into opportunities. 5,000 meals served daily in our model boarding secondary schools. Biological sciences laboratory equipment delivered to Niger Delta University. 1,000 teachers and school leaders trained with the British Council. Special education teachers graduating from Ignatius Ajuru University under EDTF. Scholarship research grants fueling innovation in our state-owned tertiary institutions. TVET, science labs, water facilities, culinary kitchens, and clinical labs springing up across Bielsa. Vocational scaffolding trainings and a computer-based testing center at UAT Tororua. These are not just projects, they are ripples that spread across classrooms, communities, and the entire state. But a ripple grows stronger when more hands join the water. So whether you're an organization, or a corporate partner, or an individual who believes in education, you can be part of this ripple. Support EDTF and help us expand Ripple. Donate, partner, or volunteer today. Together, let's transform our educational landscape. EDTF, building futures and putting smiles on faces.
Z-Tin for high-tech precision engineering. A technology and heavy-duty industry. Original spares for automotive, locomotive, aviation, marine and agriculture. Research and development for automotive engines and electric cars. Heavy-duty off-road equipment. Reverse engineering. Technological development. Academy for innovators and impressionable minds.